associate director, Akash, is also here. He's there with me from the very beginning when we started editing. And काफी torture किया मैंने. The film took me to edit almost 1.5 years actually, so it was long time. Please, sorry.
No, actually I would have asked the most obvious thing, but maybe we can start from here first, because from what I understand, your film is made on the edit. You don't write, or do you write? What is your process of scripting?
I don't have a bounce script, especially for this now. Recently, I started writing more. With this, I mean, last 5 films from my production house, actually I didn't write. So I keep writing.
Yes.
Some notes. First, what I do is more visualize the film. If I see the film from the beginning to somewhere until end, few things, then I start shooting. So this one also, I just started filming this film. But later on, it evolved and more layered later.
And on the edit table, I'm assuming is that.
Yes, that happened. I think after I shot the film almost for 1 year, because this film took me 4 years to finish. So after 1 year only we started 1.5 year editing. Yes.
So 4 years it took you to finish. That means that Village Rockstars came 7 years back, right? And so what is it that you thought? Why and when did you decide that you want to make a sequel? And it's also interesting because usually sequels are made by these big ticket mainstream ventures. Independent films, it's really rare to have a sequel. So can you just tell us about that?
I think in the beginning, I even myself didn't realize that, really independent films having a sequel. I just thought when I was seeing the film on big screens, then I remember the last scene of the first part when I shot that was the first time she was playing guitar, and when that image actually stuck with me, that image, music also organically can happen, and mother bringing the guitar. So I just thought story could be, continue further. That was my simple idea. Then I just thought when would be the right time to start the film. So I remember buying a guitar for her, I think 2018 around. And it was very important for me that because anyone can sing a little, maybe in the bathroom or wherever, however, without training also. But playing an instrument is not easy. So I just wanted to see that how she would be interested in that. Yes.
Okay.
But she was actually, and that's how 2020 mid we started shooting. So it started, and also I was very concerned because she saw fame. She was quite popular that time. How she would be, Initially she was a bit artificially started doing, but I think after 2-3 days of shooting, she was good. Yes.
Yeah, because in the interim, you yourself have, tasted so much success. Right? And you made 3 other films, features, which have also sort of won awards everywhere. Vanita, of course, has grown up. Basanti also, they must be aware now when they're acting, because earlier they were absolutely, they were novices. So how have you evolved personally in the interim, and the evolution that you saw in even your other team members, the actors and others who have, again contributed to your film?
How I evolved, I would love to listen from you, hear from you and the audience, because for me every film is different. And always I just try, it should not be monotonous also, because this kind of a film, I was quite determined that to not lose the purity of the first one, because that became like unexpectedly popular for me, because it was quite early days for me, and so it was a kind of a responsibility. Somehow I was determined not to lose purity, but also what new for me, because it's the same village, same people, and I have been shooting there. So how to bring that, I mean, little nuances and a different style on edit. So that is what I'm always trying things, and it is always, I don't want to say risk, but I love to see if how audience taking it, if they are able to see what I did intentionally, I did cautiously. So these are the things. I mean, sometimes I even don't know, but I know that I'm more aware. It is always like, because you are, doing it, more and more. So surely you are differently evolved, and after pandemic, the craft, the style, the market is so different. I'm also the producer. So a lot of conflict also happens as a director and producer, because I'm also producing this film. So these kind of confusions are there, but in that also sometimes I feel like it's very important to how to keep that, purity, I think.
Your films, you keep coming back to coming of age, to especially to girlhood, and in your films, the main protagonists, they're looking to create a space for themselves, to discover themselves. They may have romantic interests, but that does not define them at all, or come at a point where it's going to change their lives. The sort of deep friendships between the girlfriends, even the women farmers, their solidarity, the relationship between Dunu and a mother, which is so joyful, playful, and so empowering. All of this within this sort of world of girlhood, womanhood, where men are not sort of used as spoils also. So I want you to sort of speak a little about this, perhaps your experiences growing up, or your location, which makes you sort of see the world really in that it's just a woman's world. So yeah.
Even I wonder, when I was making Bulbul Can Sing, it was initially a love story, it became friendship. And this one also, there was with Bhaskar and Dhunu, there was like that love story started. Then Kabhi, kahin na kahin, the other things, friendship and the mother-daughter relationships, nature overpowered. I don't know why, because maybe it is, although not intentionally, but when I am there, because I give so much time to that like land and people, then I like to do some things probably not, I don't want to say that it's not seen, but not explored. Because we see a lot of love stories. I grew up watching so many love stories, and when I see these people, I feel like there are so much there we need to see, and it overpowers.
No, I also meant, because there are a lot of sort of feminist films, right? But your film deeply is a woman's world, where they are trying, sort of making a space for themselves, and perhaps it's,
because it exists, and when I'm talking about from that village or land, if I grew up, later, it's more matured in some college, urban story in a city, then it will be different. They don't know what is feminism or something like that. So I don't like to impose my thought what I'm coming from the village, starting in the city and traveling different places. My experience on, I mean, I don't want to impose. So what naturally, probably what they can think, how in that situation or some circumstances, how they are going to behave. I just try, it's not that it's a documentary, it's a fiction. But still not away from reality, and also my imagination, which probably it's not like just directly influencing people, like I'm not like forcing something, but probably can see beyond, giving hope also, that what I have not experienced, probably bringing into screen, creating my own world, and showing that this way also possible. Like this, yeah. I mean, see, even people like when film was screened at the Mami, I didn't expect that man they would cry and come to me. I didn't expect, because it's for me it was, I thought it's a mother-daughter story, but they were touched differently. So these are the things, beautiful things happen unknowingly. I think that is the beauty of also how they are interpreting the characters. Yeah.
And you instinctively making something which is,
I think, yes.
Yeah. And you, in all your films, I suppose also because of where you come from, there is a deep philosophical engagement with nature. Not just in terms of, showing nature or being there, but also your process of writing and shooting around what already exists. I mean, we see sort of, the rains, the water rising, we see the rainbow, we see those blood-sucking sort of leeches on Vanita's legs, and the trees getting cut, right, by the chainsaws. And I was wondering, all of this, obviously, I mean, you said that you don't script, it's not a bound script, but it would be really great if you can take us through this process of shooting and creating in a way that does not impose or interfere, but sort of works around it to tell your story.
For me, sometimes it's quite simple. It is just my reflection. It is all about love and respect. So nature, a tree is not always just a background for me, for the film. They are very much exist in our life. A tree cannot make a movie. A bird cannot, So a river, but unconditionally, nature, a tree, so much they are giving. So for me, it comes from within to give. They are, with us. I think it's very simple. I don't think beyond that. I just feel like how unconditionally they are giving to us, and I see that beauty, and that happened because I started staying in Mumbai. Then even in Assam, every village is, beautiful. But I remember after village houses, people used to came from Assam also to see my village. They are like, oh, your village is so beautiful. Maybe no, your village is also beautiful. It is just because maybe being in Mumbai, I understood the value of a tree, a river. It's just simple actually. Thank you.
It's just simple, and you make these incredible films out of this sort of simple understanding. I can open, please.
Hi, thank you for this film. I mean, it was a fiction though, but I felt that I'm watching a documentary. I mean, there were parts where I was like, because as a journalist, I was seeing issues and I was seeing things that were affecting people's lives, so it was very moving. And though it was a fiction, so you had all the control, but there was a moment where the band was practicing in a room and people were watching through the window. So was it deliberate or was it like...
No, it was not deliberate.
Yeah.
They actually came, yes.
Yeah, so you had the control, you could have asked them to not peek through the window, but you chose to keep keep that short. So what, from your perspective, what was the understanding?
It's natural, whatever coming, because I keep saying this in my lot of interviews and talks like that. I believe in that Greek philosophy that you cannot step into same river twice. So if I am writing a scene today, tomorrow I am going to shoot, something will happen. Let it just flow. They are coming, and it was quite natural. Sometimes if it doesn't look like they are not fit into that scene, surely I take control. But when it is looking nice, beautiful and natural, then I just allow it. Yes.
Rima, it's the first time I'm speaking in this festival. I felt called upon. I found this one extremely beautiful, and I just want to say that sort of brought back the neorealism of say Yuvikasm. It seemed almost like the compassion, the lyricism of your visual. The social anchor and injustice all weaving together. I did want to say that it was extraordinarily beautiful, and I'm really grateful that you brought back, I think, what is best in our cinematic tradition was the neoliberalism of which acknowledged social injustice but also talked about compassion and strength, and as you're saying, it was so natural. The feminism was the most natural that I saw. It was people's own. But I'm still curious when you say you didn't have a script, because I thought it was a beautifully scripted film. So I was curious as to how did the story emerge, or was there a broad story?
There was a story, only I think it layered later on, because 4 years when I'm there, I mean, as an observer or being as one of them, so you start seeing things, and I just get allowed to came and be part of the film, although it was not easy, because when I started editing I realized how much 4 years, lot of footages, and it is layered, and how to keep that balance and that spontaneity was a big challenge for me. But that mother-daughter story was there, and the music was there. I think the land story evolved more later on. Brother was also there, but almost it was from the beginning. I knew, okay, this is the space. But that love story ended more sooner. I thought it would go further, then I thought, no, this is not important now. So I think this evolved with time. Yeah, it's time. So thank you. Probably we can talk later also. Yes.
Hi. First of all, thank you to DIFF for explaining this movie. Have been wanting to watch it for a very long time. Thank you, Rima, for making movies like this. I'm from Assam, and I'm from Lower Assam specifically. It is immensely refreshing. Like, I cannot tell you, like, in all these years, throughout the cinematic history of Assam, Lower Assam has seen extremely less representation, and in such a refreshing way on the big screen. I love the authenticity of your storytelling. Like, I don't know how you do it. There is some magic, and like, I'm super in awe of this entire process. I also am really in awe of how you have brought in, conservation into the narrative, and how it is so important to people like us back home. How it is a very integral part of our life, and we cannot talk about a story. We can't make a story about regular people who live in our villages and even cities without talking about the environment. I just want to know if you have, because I found that there were certain moments in the film when, initially also there is this chapter on the Assam floods, and there is this very brief sort of interview where the teacher is like, Assam has a lot of rivers and tributaries, and we think about it as a natural phenomenon, which it actually kind of isn't at this point. But so I'd like to know if these certain moments and that there were a lot of felling of the trees and everything, which could have been cut from the movie and it would not have affected the budget that much. So I just want to know if you have certain just ideas about these things, like the environment or flooding or maybe some things like land and ownership, property, alcoholism, maybe these points. Do you have them in mind before starting out on a film, like any film, not just this one? Or do you bring it in via the context of the story that you're working on and you want to show?
Thank you so much. Most of the time it's a conscious decision. Most of the time. It's just not that it happens midway. In this film also those tree cutting things happen later, recently, just 6 months I think. You are from Gwalpara, so almost more than 30,000 trees were cut. So, but when I was editing, I realized that already nature is there. If you, in their land also, you will see a particular tree, and the end sequence, the tree, and when she's taking her mother to a hospital or a doctor, it was not planned. The tree was, my sequence was somewhere not exactly the whatever happened with mother, it was, in my story. But when I just started filming, I saw that tree was there. So at that time, I improvised. But these things happened before tree cutting started. Then when the tree cutting happens, I was very, very disturbed. So in the beginning, I was documenting the tree cutting. I thought this is such a beautiful road and so many hundred and more years trees. So I just thought to document it so that new generation probably they will know that this tree were there. Then I just suddenly it just came to me, okay, why not in this film? Because there is space. It is already part of, it is sometimes what I believe in, that alchemist thing, like it is just the science. Sometimes it is heartbreaking, but you just feel like what I can do, We raised voice also, but they didn't stop. So as a filmmaker, what I can do little way, that is just I try to do. Thank you.
Very good. I'm Chirag, and I really loved your movie. Something that I wanted to share was that I've got the opportunity to be teaching for fourth graders, school previously, and something that I was always interested in was to make them watch movies, just get the experience of things, of learning from it, social emotional learning. And I think it is one of the, it's a great movie for kids to watch. And the other thing is that when you're saying that you're not writing scripts, I think the visuals and just the pauses of emotions which are there in each and every frame, one can write a nice story out of it. So I think that is a good exercise that maybe one can do for them to maybe just practice out their literature writing. So that is something that I really it just kind of became a thought when I was watching the movie. And I'm not trying to draw any comparisons, but this is what something people would talk about, that how he would adapt literature into movies. But the movie that I'm watching, I think it can be also developed into a really nice expectation. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
It's a big compliment. Thank you.
Rima, congratulations.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask a very simple question. I know you've been asked this in other festivals, but just to talk about the process with actors, because there are moments in the film when they're not even speaking in a full voice, they're speaking almost under their breath in the romance scenes, or even the mother-daughter. It's so moving and it's so natural, it's as if life is taking place. Can you just share some insights into how you work with actors over the year before you start shooting, perhaps?
The big realization happened when I was looking for acting job in Mumbai. So that was my first dream. So there I lost myself, because I became in my college and school. I used to be best actress. I had that confidence. But when I was in Mumbai, I became so conscious. I stopped, performing. I couldn't perform. I couldn't smile and emote myself. And also I grew up watching Bollywood films, commercial films. So when I used to watch Bollywood films, I didn't imagine myself that I would be able to make a movie. It didn't come to me. I'm coming from an academic background. My father used to be a teacher, so I never imagined to be a filmmaker. But when I started watching Iranian films, European films, then it just spontaneously hit me. I just thought I'd be able to make probably not a movie or not, I don't know, but at least I'd be able to tell stories. That is what. And when I watched Patre Pachali, oh, okay, you can go back and make something. That was my idea. So because I was so conscious and I couldn't perform, so probably that I just created that environment for my actors, although they are non-professional, right, non-actors. But it's non-actors or professional. I have been now also working with professional actors. So I like to create that environment, a special bonding with my actors, so that I allow them, to be themselves. Although I give them dialogues, but it is not that I'm restricting कि इतना ही बोलना है, ये नहीं बोल सकते. And what I also do from the beginning, because I remember my audition days, few lines were such, it's very difficult to perform as an actor. So I write what I myself feel easy to, emote. More like conversational, जो easy होता है, not very probably what it will be. I don't know. Yes. Right. So I think this kind of small steps help.
Hi, Rima. Thank you for that movie. I really resonated with the protagonist's journey, especially the part about the girl child having to grow up far before time because she has to be the responsible adult in the house. But my question is about something else. So you said that you had a lot of footage that you worked with, and retroactively you worked on the edit and the story sort of layered and developed on that. Was there anything in the footage that sort of you really wanted to, and even for your associate director, in terms of something that you wanted to include in the movie, but it didn't make the cut because of whatever constraints, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, there are many.
Any if you mention.
I feel like it could have been, even my last film, Rockstars, has been on this. Because I started both simultaneously during pandemic, I didn't realize what is also happening, with my mindset was not right. That later on I realized when everything opened. So I feel like it could have been at least three hours. If this cut was 3 hours, then I'm a producer also, so what to say, sometimes it's important. Yeah. You can also say, his work experience.
Yeah, we had to consider the changing market as well, because you must have noticed, if I compare it with the last few years, the most of the people, like, due to this reel culture and especially the OTTs coming in, so that patience of sitting and watching has kind of gone away. So we had to take a few places, we had to take a call on keeping that thing in mind, and the evaluation of the audience throughout these years, because it took 4 years to actually release it. So yeah, I mean, even like right before the screening, we were discussing about a scene that we thought we would have kept it. So yeah, I mean, it's a call, and I think it happens with all the films. Like ultimately, you have many scenes there that you want to keep, but it doesn't make into the cut. Yeah, but it's the life.
With me, what happens? Surely, market is okay, that is fine, but we didn't compromise. ऐसा नहीं था कि okay ऐसे just because of उसके लिए ऐसा कर दो, ऐसा नहीं किया. And what I do, there are scenes. If I really love the scenes, मैं उसको next film में the brother. Like Dhunu is taking her brother, no, in वो थैला में लेके जो there is a scene later after mother's death. इस तरह का एक scene मैंने बुलबुल के scene में किया था, and वो scene मैंने वहाँ नहीं रखा, but it was in my head. I loved that scene, तो मैं ये film में लेके आई. So I keep doing that. ऐसा नहीं कि इस बार shoot किया, it was an experience, but maybe it can be in my next film. So that is what I do. Yes.
So yeah, it happened during the process also. Like if we decide to drop some scenes, so she always says, okay, this scene might not be working with the story here, but the setup, the emotion is so good that we can utilize that idea later in the other films.
Yeah.
So which is, I thought, it's an interesting part, rather than just dropping the idea all itself, reusing it maybe in the other film, which might work better in the.
It's actually beautiful because it's the same world.
Yes, exactly.
You're constantly exploring that same world in different spaces. Anyone else? Yeah? Okay. Just,
Hello, Village Rockstar is currently in Netflix. So you think due to the current market, Village Rockstar 2 will be also in some OTT platform?
We can be hopeful. There are a lot of things discouraging sometimes, but throughout my journey, I just have learned that we just need to keep moving. Because if I ask myself what best I can do and what makes me happy, then telling stories. So, I mean, some answers I don't have. I would love to keep making movies. आप लोग आते नहीं है, देखेंगे कैसे क्या कर सकते हैं. Thank you.
anyone else? Cornelia? Yes. And then the next one we can reject it.
Just to comment, like, after seeing Village Rockstar 1, and this I didn't read anything about it, I just wanted to come and watch it. And so it was like I didn't know what to look for, and it just left me waiting now for the next one. And what I think it's so poetic and it's so beautiful, and it was just like, it was heartbreaking. You made me cry also while watching the film, and I feel that, I really like this whole thing, that the way nature is portrayed, that it's also so, devastating, and how at the same time, the love towards nature, despite the floods, despite everything, it's there, and that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi ma'am. My question is like, are you not scared? Because I'm scared after watching like the credits. Because your name is like everywhere, like director, cinematographer, producer, and you're working like without a proper script. I mean, as a film student, when we make short films or whatever, we will do the all pre-production, like after storyboarding we'll go on set. But you're going like without a script, and it's like scary thing. So how do you manage your fear?
The best thing, I mean, it is not best thing I'm saying. I didn't go to a film school, so nothing scared me. I didn't have to lose anything. So from the very beginning. So that was my, I think, attitude. What I lost so much in my personal life. So I wanted to do something, and it was my love. I realized it was my love, you know. Then you were just doing it. Yeah. And I think overcome that fear of losing and looking good, no? कैसे किसी को प्रूव करना है चीज़ आप एक बार वहाँ से निकलते हो तो आपका जर्नी शुरू होती है ना? आप किसी के भी हाथ में कैमरा दोगे बच्चा भी एक फोटो निकाल लेंगे. He is not scared too, but it is also beautiful. Art, I consider movies that is art. जब मतलब किसी ने पहली any art started, it just happened, you know, with passion. So now it becomes so much, ऐसे करना है, ऐसा करना है, you need to, you know, do it perfectly. I don't see art that way. It is your very personal reflection and vision, right? And किसी को अच्छा लगेगा, किसी को नहीं लगेगा, you know. You cannot satisfy everyone, but it's very important in satisfying you or not. Is it you? Then it's enough, I think. Thank you.
I want to actually ask one question. You know, in Village Rockstars, Tulu and her family, of course, dealing with nature itself, right? But here you have capital and state very clearly here. You know, you've shown poor farmers who've got a very rich cultural life, and which is at the risk of sort of being swept away by so-called development, roads or buildings. So, just want you to sort of comment on this, and this was sort of different from Village Rockstars one, where the challenge was different.
The film is entirely, my idea was to see Dhunu's point of view, you know, her perspective. And when, as a grown-up girl, now I remember like when I was a child, flood was like an event for us. We used to love, you know, I mean, the flood aa gaya to abhi masti karna hai. We used to also make rafts like from banana trees and a lot of fun. So that is what you saw in the first part. Now when she is at her teenage, she is a young woman, also she is managing now responsibilities. I mean, which is a lot of talent are in our country or probably in the world, and suddenly you don't have, you know, that kind of a life or resources to fulfill your dream, and you are suddenly, you needs to take these responsibilities. So I just, all these things from her point, yes,
Village also being mentioned.
right, how it is, and of course as a filmmaker, behind it's there, but I tried my best to see more from her perspective.
So, thank you, Rima. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.